Hey, in this video, I'm going to explain what phrase match is in Google Ads and what 15,000 accounts say about it and whether or not you should use phrase versus exact versus broad match. So if you don't know what phrase match is, it's basically the little quotation marks around a keyword that you're bidding on inside of Google Ads. And so what that means is Google is trying to understand the meaning of the keyword, right? And it's smart enough to do that so that they understand you're trying to enter into anything related to commercial keywords like buy running shoes online or buy running shoes near me and stuff like that. And it understands that you're not trying to enter into auctions that say like running technique or what's a shoe made out of and all that crap that's totally irrelevant. Now, why would you use phrase instead of broad match, for example, or exact match? So we'll explain this in a sec. So broad match, if you don't know already, it's basically Google is trying to enter you into all the types of auctions related to a running shoe. As you can imagine, that gives you the highest amount of reach and clicks and impressions, but it gives you the lowest relevance because you're going to enter into all sorts of bullshit like what's a running shoe made out of, all this kind of stuff that you can imagine is totally irrelevant to what you're selling. Whereas exact match is the opposite. Exact match is like, okay, if we're bidding on running shoe, right? I don't want to enter into buy running shoes online. I just want running shoes, if that makes sense. So basically, Google will limit the reach dramatically so that they can have the highest amount of relevance, right, for exact match. And so with exact match, you're going to have to enter into all the combinations. So you're going to have to say running shoes and then buy running shoes as a separate keyword as exact. And so you can imagine it's a lot of work. So here's what I recommend, right? Normally when you've got an account, I start with phrase match. If I'm really unsure about the industry, sometimes I'll experiment with a broad match, but very rarely will I do a broad match. Once I start to learn the account of how many leads we get and how many sales we get, I work out the cost per lead, I work out the cost per transaction, I can work out a cost per acquisition over time, which takes a couple of months, and I graduate these keywords into exact match over time so that I can get a better return on investment. And so there was a study across 15,000 accounts by Optimizer, and they found that using phrase match had a higher ROAS compared to broad match, right? But it didn't have a higher ROAS compared to exact match. And you can imagine why, right? Once you graduate those keywords into the exact match. It had a higher conversion rate compared to the other match types. So phrase match had higher conversion rate compared to exact and broad, which just means that it relates to more people over time. So I think there's a good indicator to use phrase on average across your accounts. But if you're super serious long term about return on investment, you must graduate them into exact match over time. But obviously you don't start with exact match, right? You're cutting your foot off and you're not going to run good ads straight out of the gate, right? So I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.